1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The President instructs to develop a grassroots-level national program for agricultural modernization. A record number of tourists have arrived in the month of February. State Minister Ranjit Sinhala says that the tourism earning sector has shown a significant increase compared to last year. The UNFPA and Japan donate medical supplies to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka and the US sign a nuclear security pact. The Presidential Scholarship Program 2024-2025 is open for applications. In foreign news, the UK-owned ship attacked by Houthis sink off Yemen coast. In sports news, Max Verstappen takes dominant win for Red Bull in the F1 Bahrain Grand Prix. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has instructed the relevant officials to collaborate across public and private sectors to develop a comprehensive national program aimed at ensuring the success of agricultural modernization efforts. The President highlighted that despite annual budget allocations at the national and provincial and local levels, the separate operations of public and private institutions have led to delays in achieving desired outcomes. He underscored the importance of garnering support from both the public and private agricultural research institutes along with the university system to address the challenges encountered in implementing this program. President Ranil Wickremesinghe conveyed these sentiments during the progress review meeting of the Agriculture Modernization Program convened at the Presidential Secretariat recently. President Ranil Wickremesinghe also emphasized the necessity of formulating a national program that aligns with government policies and can be effectively implemented at the grassroots level. Furthermore, he instructed the relevant officials to initiate the 26 related projects promptly. The Ministry of Agriculture and Plantation Industries says that the amount of crop damage occurred in this yellow season has increased to nearly 70,000 acres. Also, the number of farmers affected due to this has also increased up to more than 70,000. According to the new report issued by the Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board, 68,340.35 acres of cultivated paddy fields have been damaged and 70,188 farmers have been affected by this. Also, 409 farmers who cultivated big onions, chilies, maize and soybeans have been affected. 461.85 acres cultivated by them too have been damaged. The highest amount of crop damage reported so far has been reported from the Kurunegala district. Accordingly, crop damages which occurred in the district is 26,813.67 acres. Minister Mahinda Amaravira stated that the assessment of crop damage carried out by the Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board was advised to be complete promptly. Also, the minister said that the said report will be submitted to the Cabinet of Ministers and after that the decision of the Cabinet of Ministers regarding crop damage will be announced. Sri Lanka tourism welcomed over 10,000 tourists in a single day on the 24th of February, marking the highest number of daily arrivals after COVID-19, whilst registering over 200,000 visitors during the month. The country saw over 200,000 tourists for 3 consecutive months, making a robust uptick in arrivals after 4 years. During the first 27 days of February, Sri Lanka welcomed a total of 204,484 tourists, propelled the year-to-date arrivals to 412,737. This achievement exceeds the total number of recorded cases for the entire month of February in 2023, which stood at 107,639. February also witnessed a consistent upward trend in the first 3 weeks with over 50,000 tourists and peaking at 55,537 in the third week. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sinhala says that the tourism earnings have shown a significant increase compared to last year. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka announces that the highest tourism earnings recorded in the month after January 2020 were recorded in January this year. The tourism earnings reported in January 2023 were $154 million. Earnings in tourism have increased to $342 million in January this year. It is a growth of 122.7% compared to the previous year, the Economic Research Department of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka states. P.O. Smith, UNFPA Asia Pacific Regional Director, and Kotara Katsuki, the acting ambassador at the Embassy of Japan, presented medical supplies valued at over $2.1 million to Minister of Health Dr. Ramesh Patirana. This ceremony was held at the Ministry of Health on the 1st of this month. The donated medicines and medical equipment were contributed under the project title Ensuring Access to Life-Saving Sexual and Reproductive Health and Providing Gender-Based Violence Prevention and Response Services for Women, Girls and Vulnerable Groups. This initiative, totaling $4.6 million, has been funded by the Government of Japan as part of its response to this economic crisis in Sri Lanka. The primary goal of the project is to support women in vulnerable communities. Sri Lanka and the United States have inked a nuclear security agreement aimed at detecting and intercepting illicit trafficking of special nuclear material and other radioactive substances This move comes as part of broader efforts to tackle escalating global security risks. The Sri Lankan Navy formalized an MOU with the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration at the Navy headquarters in Colombo. The MOU was signed in the presence of the U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, and the commander of the Sri Lankan Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira. Ambassador Chung expressed on X that the partnership between the United States and Sri Lanka in tackling global security threats continues to strengthen over time. The application process for the Presidential Scholarship Program 2024-2025, targeting 100,000 school students facing economic difficulties, is now open. In line with the vision of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, applications are being accepted until March 20th, 2024. To apply, interested candidates can access the application form, instructions and all the relevant information in Sinhala, Tamil and English through the official Facebook page of the President's Fund at www.facebook.com/president.fund and the official website www.presidentsfund.gov.lk. Applicants must submit their complete applications to respective school principals before the deadline.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala.
Sri Lanka and India have initiated talks to find a permanent solution to the long-standing issue of Indian fishermen encroaching into Sri Lankan waters. This follows a high-level meeting between the Chief of Staff of the President Sagala Ratnayake and the Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha last week. The decision comes amid ongoing tensions with Sri Lankan fishermen protesting against the activities of Indian vessels entering their territorial waters and employing unauthorized methods such as bottom trawling. 170 Indian fishermen have been detained by the Sri Lanka Navy due to these violations, with some already facing legal action in Sri Lankan courts. This has led to protests and hunger strikes in South India, further complicating the situation.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala.
And now in watchlight, the temperature felt on the human body is expected to increase up to caution level in some places in the northwestern, western, southern and Sabargama provinces and in the Mannar district. According to the Met Department, fatigue is possible in case of prolonged exposure to heat these days in these areas. Heat cramps and heat exhaustion are possible, and extensive activity in the outdoor environment can lead to a heat stroke.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines now, the UK-owned ship attacked by the Houthis sinks off Yemen coast. The US carries out its first aid airdrop out in Gaza Strip. Russia publishes German army meeting on Ukraine. A British-registered cargo ship has sunk 2 weeks after being attacked by Houthis in the Gulf of Aden. Yemen's government said the Rubiamar was drifting and taking on water for days before it sank. It is the first ship to have been sunk by the Iran-backed rebels in Yemen since they began targeting vessels in the Red Sea. The ship was reportedly carrying fertilizers, and experts say the sinking risks an environmental catastrophe. The Rubiamar was in the Gulf of Aden near the Bab al-Mandab Strait when it was hit by 2 missiles fired by Yemen-based Houthi rebels. 10 days ago, the British government said the vessel had been taking in water and all its 24 crew had been rescued. The BBC obtained an image of the ship on the 21st of February which showed it submerged at the stern but still afloat. The vessel's owner said at the time that it was being towed to nearby Djibouti but could yet sink. It said it was unable to confirm it had given there was no one aboard. The US has carried out its first airdrop of humanitarian aid for Gaza with more than 30,000 meals parachuted by 3 military planes. The operation, carried out jointly with Jordan's Air Force, was the first of many announced by President Joe Biden. He promised to step up aid after at least 112 people were killed as crowds rushed to a convoy on Thursday. The airdrop comes as the top US officials in the framework of a deal for a 6-week ceasefire in Gaza was in place. The Biden administration officials said on Saturday that Israel had more or less accepted a deal on a new ceasefire. Mediators are due to reconvene in Cairo on Sunday, and Egyptian officials said delegations from both Hamas and Israel were expected to arrive for the negotiations. Germany has admitted their apparent hack by Russia of a military meeting where officers discussed giving Ukraine long-range missiles and possible targets. Audio of the video conference meeting was posted to social media by the head of Russia's state-run RT channel. The officers discussed how the missiles could hit the Kerch Bridge, which links Russia to the illegally annexed Crimea. Russian politicians said the audio proved that its sworn enemy was planning attacks. Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz said today called the apparent leak a very serious matter and that it was why it is now being investigated very carefully, very intensively and very quickly. According to Der Spiegel magazine, the video conference was not held on a secret internal army network but on the WebEx platform. The 38 minutes of audio was posted by RT chief Margarita Simeon on Friday, who said it was proof Germany was planning strikes on Crimea. In the recording, discussions can be heard on the possible use by Ukrainian forces of German-made Taurus missiles and their potential impact. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. The UK-owned ship attacked by the Houthis sinks off the Yemen coast. The US carries out first aid airdrop in Gaza Strip. Russia publishes German army meeting on Ukraine.
Development News.
The Sri Lanka Ports Authority will receive 2 more STS Jantra cranes by April this year to be deployed at the East Container Terminal at the Colombo Port. The chair of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, Keith Bernard, said that with the arrival of the 2 cranes and the 3 new STS Jantra cranes they received earlier this year, the East Container Terminal would send back 3 cranes to the Jaya Container Terminal. The cost of the cranes is being borne by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. He said that with the Red Sea crisis, they're experiencing high volumes of cargo and the use of the new equipment will help them to clear cargo at a faster rate.
Moving on with sports news.
Red Bull's Max Verstappen sent out a chilling message to his Formula One rivals with a crushing victory in the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix. He brushed off controversy surrounding his team principal Christian Horner to dominate after a brief challenge at the start from Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Verstappen led teammate Sergio Perez home ahead of Ferrari's Carlos Sainz. Leclerc recovered from dropping off 5th early on to pass Mercedes' George Russell for a 4th in the closing laps. The weekend in Bahrain had been dominated by Horner, who had been at the centre of a complaint of inappropriate behaviour from a female colleague for the last month. Meanwhile, Darwin Núñez came off the bench to score his dramatic 99th minute win and send Liverpool 4 points clear the top of the Premier League with victory at struggling Nottingham Forest. As the game drifted past the 8 added minutes announced by the 4th official, Núñez played his first game since suffering a muscle injury at Brentford, playing on the 17th of February, found the bottom corner with a glancing header from Alexis McAllister's cross, sparkling bedlam on the Liverpool bench and in the stands.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
SEM's Global USA Sri Lankan edition of the Textile Series exhibitions opened by the SLCC on Friday will conclude today at the SLECC. One of the highlights of SEM's Global USA's Textile Series of exhibitions is its commitment to showcasing innovation and sustainability. As the textile industry evolves to meet the demands of an ever-changing world, these exhibitions provide a platform for manufacturers to showcase their cutting-edge technology, sustainable practices and eco-friendly materials.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, President Ranil Wickremesinghe underscored the pressing need to address the challenges facing the agricultural sector, affirming a commitment to prioritize the concerns of farmers in the nation's rebuilding efforts. Emphasizing the imperative of fostering a competitive agriculture industry geared towards crop exportation, the President announced plans for the imminent launch of the country's most extensive agricultural modernization initiative. President Wickremesinghe shared these sentiments during his participation at a paddy harvesting event in the Galamitiaba village with the Tabalagamo Divisional Secretariat.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershows may occur at a few places in the Kaluthura, Ratnapura, Legal and Mathura districts in the evening or night. Mainly dry weather will prevail elsewhere with the island. The public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by typically localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. That was with the report and other headlines of this news broadcast once again. The President instructs to develop a grassroots level national program for agricultural modernization. A record number of tourists arrived in the month of April. State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitia says that the tourism earnings sector has shown a significant increase compared to last year. Sri Lanka and the US signed Nuclear Security Pact. The UNFPA and Japan donate medical supplies to Sri Lanka. The Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025 opens for applications. In foreign news, the UK-owned ship attacked by the Houthis sinks off the Yemen coast. In sports news, Max Verstappen takes dominant win for Red Bull in the F1 Bahrain Grand Prix. That concludes this news broadcast.